From the pages of WWF Superstars Collector's Guide. The WWF Superstars Collector's Guide serves as an official visual and biographical compendium of the greatest wrestlers in the World Wrestling Federation during the mid-1980s. This publication, produced in 1986 by Titan Sports Inc., highlights the heroes, villains, tag teams, and managers that defined the golden era of professional wrestling. With photography by Steve Taylor and contributions from top wrestling writers and editors, this guide is a time capsule of the WWF's most iconic figures, offering fans a deeper look into their backgrounds, signature moves, and in-ring personas. The heroes of the WWF. Hulk Hogan, the Immortal Champion. Hulk Hogan cemented his place in wrestling history when he defeated the Iron Sheik on January 24, 1984, capturing the WWF World Championship and ushering in the era of Hulkamania. Known for his 24-inch pythons, Hogan's physique and energy electrified arenas worldwide. Famous for his real American spirit, encouraging fans to say their prayers, take their vitamins, and train hard. Signature moves, the big boot and leg drop of doom, which have taken down the biggest challengers. Junkyard Dog, the powerhouse of the people. A 280-pound brawler from Charlotte, North Carolina, Junkyard Dog was one of the most beloved wrestlers in the WWF. Fought the Funk Brothers in a bitter rivalry, standing up to their dirty tactics. Known for his massive strength, headbutts, and signature finishing move, the Thump, wore an iron chain around his neck, symbolizing his rough and tough demeanor. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, martial arts mastery. One of the most technically skilled wrestlers in the WWF, Ricky Steamboat combined scientific wrestling, agility, and martial arts to dominate his opponents. Had a long-standing feud with Jake the Snake Roberts, using his pet monitor lizard to counteract Jake's python. Steamboat's battles with Don Marenko and Macho Man Randy Savage became instant classics. Signature moves, flying crossbody and dragon chop, utilizing speed and precision. George the Animal Steele, the Wildman of the Ring. A true unpredictable force, George Steele was a hairy, green-tongued brawler who would tear apart turnbuckles mid-match. Managed by Captain Lou Albano, who tried to keep Steele's animalistic tendencies in check, had an unusual obsession with Miss Elizabeth which enraged Randy Savage. Signature moves, biting, clubbing forearms, and using his raw strength to overpower opponents. Tito Santana, the fighting champion. A former Intercontinental champion, Tito Santana was a buzzsaw of athleticism with a mix of power, speed, and technical ability. Had memorable battles with Greg the Hammer Valentine and Randy Savage. His flying forearm was one of the most devastating strikes in the WWF. Hailed from Tocala, Mexico, carrying the pride of his heritage into the ring. The villains of the WWF. King Kong Bundy, the Walking Avalanche. A 458-pound monster, King Kong Bundy was one of Hulk Hogan's biggest threats. Famous for demanding 5-count pinfalls instead of the traditional 3, faced Hogan at WrestleMania 2 inside a steel cage match for the WWF Championship. His avalanche splash was nearly impossible to escape once he had his opponent down. Randy Macho Man Savage, the unpredictable challenger. Randy Savage, one of the most charismatic yet devious wrestlers in history, captured the Intercontinental Championship by controversially defeating Tito Santana. Managed by the beautiful and mysterious Miss Elizabeth, who kept him grounded. His elbow drop from the top rope became legendary. Feuded with George Steele, Hulk Hogan, and Ricky Steamboat in brutal encounters. Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, the arrogant powerhouse. A former friend turned rival of Hulk Hogan, Orndorff became infamous for turning on the Hulkster. Used the piledriver as his devastating finishing maneuver. His chiseled physique and technical wrestling made him one of the toughest competitors in the WWF. Jake the Snake Roberts, the master of mind games. One of the most psychologically dangerous wrestlers, Roberts would bring his giant python Damien to the ring and drape it over fallen opponents. Developed the infamous DDT finishing move, which is still one of the most feared maneuvers in wrestling history. Had an intense rivalry with Ricky Steamboat, attacking him with a real-life snake. The tag teams of the WWF. The British Bulldogs, the ultimate combination of power and speed. Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid redefined tag team wrestling with their mix of technical skills, aerial moves, and raw power. Defeated the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2 for the tag team titles. Managed by Captain Lou Albano, who fine-tuned their wrestling skills. The Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. With Bret Hart's scientific wrestling skills and Jim Neidhart's brute strength, the Hart Foundation became one of the most feared teams in the WWF. Managed by the loudmouth Jimmy Hart, who always had tricks up his sleeve. Used the Heart Attack finisher, a devastating running clothesline. The Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, the Foreign Menace. Two of the most hated heels in wrestling, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, thrived on anti-American heat, held the WWF Tag Team Championship and taunted American crowds before every match. Volkov would sing the Soviet national anthem, infuriating fans. The managers of the WWF, Bobby the Brain Heenan, the ultimate schemer, a brilliant yet underhanded manager, Heenan built the legendary Heenan family, managing Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, and Mr. Perfect. Famous for interfering in matches and insulting fans, served as a color commentator, where he clashed with Gorilla Monsoon, Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart, the loudest manager in wrestling. A former rock star turned wrestling manager, Jimmy Hart brought a megaphone to ringside, using it to rally his wrestlers. Managed the Hart Foundation, the Honky Tonk Man, and the Natural Disasters. Miss Elizabeth, the First Lady of Wrestling. The elegant and soft-spoken Miss Elizabeth was Randy Savage's manager, often caught in the middle of his explosive personality and feuds. Played a key role in the Mega Power storyline between Savage and Hogan. Final thoughts. The WWF Superstars Collector's Guide is a must-have for fans of classic wrestling, offering a detailed look at the biggest legends, their greatest rivalries, and the managers who shaped their careers. Like, share, and subscribe.